What's going on, my friends? Cubs fan Han back again for a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes Top 10 video. We're going to go through a Territory Wars guide, and I have got my buddy Scotto here with me here today. What is going on, Scotto?
What's up, Cubs fan Han? You want to do a video? Yeah, let's do it.
No, Scotto, I need you to go home because we're filming the video right now.
Hold on, dude. Now I'm doing my Galactic War.
How did you end up there? And no, stop doing your Galactic War. We're doing a video right now.
Oh, hold on. Let me just finish up.
I can never unsee that.
What's up, Cubs fan Han? How you doing, man? It's been a while.
All right, now that I got you down in one place here, check out this. Scotty was showing this to me before we started recording here. This is the Thai slicer.
Or is it the Thai slicer?
Or the swolster.
The swolster.
The Thai swolster. For those of you who don't know Scotto, he's a bit hard to track down, but he is part of the Cheat Code Visa podcast, one of my favorite podcasts in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Go ahead, check it out. Link is down below in the description. How you doing today, Scotto?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm good. See, it's awesome because the last time we did a video, we were actually giving our initial reaction to Territory Wars, and today we are breaking down the top 10 tips of how to smash your Territory Wars.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for having me again. Let's do this.
Absolutely. So the way this works, I actually put a channel a couple weeks ago in my Discord server for people to share what their tips were for Territory Wars. One of the issues with making content for Territory Wars is it's such a changing, lucrative game mode where every Territory War is going to feel different. Every guild's going to have a slightly different strategy, and a lot of guilds, I don't know about you, Scotto, but a lot of guilds are pretty protective of their strategy, right? So it's kind of hard to make a strategy guide without spoiling your guild's strategy. But one of my loyal subscribers had the idea to have everyone share some of their tips, just basic tips to help you with your Territory War, and we have voted on what our top 10 are, and I'm going to share those top 10 with you today, and Scotto and I will break those down.
Love it. Let's do this.
All right. So starting with an honorable mention, this is actually this is the anti-top 10. This is the most downvoted post we had in there. It's from Cards Fan Luke, and he says, I'll probably catch some fire for this. But the tip is to drop 10 million from your guild and feed on smaller guilds.
Did we really just go over this?
Oh my gosh. Don't do that. Do not be that guild.
Don't do that. Don't do it. It's bad.
That is bad, and that is manipulating the system, and it's something that I've actually brought to the developers as something that you should be able to address and make sure it doesn't happen. But ooh,
that one's tough.
That
shady.
Would
get me. Yeah, that would get me.
All right, let's look at number 10. This is from my boy Zane. Use the in-game Territory Wars command tool to mark a territory as forced engagement and leave a message for the next step once the territory is completed. Push the notification out to the guild. It's better to have a focused attack than a scattered one.
Yeah, and you gotta love this one. It's pretty simple, but a lot of people overlook it. They put their instructions in Discord or something. People get lost.
Yeah.
Use the in-game tools. They put them there for a reason.
Yeah, ultimately, Discord communication is very good, but there's probably going to be some people that might not check their Discord when they go in to do the Territory War, so it's nice to have it in both places, I would say, just so that you appeal to both camps and make it explicitly clear. Number 9 is from Skexy, and this is actually my Territory Wars boss in my personal guild. And Skexy says, a big key to offense is making do with weaker characters. The goal is to use the weakest team necessary to defeat teams. I think he means weakest team possible. And when going into fights with a piecemeal team, go in looking to pick off one or two characters. Maybe somebody else has a solution for the remaining tunes if you don't. I think this is a great solution, especially, I think somebody else has a more specific strategy using Imperial Probe Droid later, but using a character like Imperial Probe Droid or Nihilus, where you can do an insta-kill, make sure you get out one of those stronger characters, and then the team kind of falls apart from there on out. Number 8, we've got Jets fan, and he says, organization, making sure that if people won't be available for offense, they deploy as much as possible to be helpful on D. And I would say make sure they're doing effective deployments. You don't want them deploying just random stuff either. Try not to spread top-tier squads out too much. Focused defensive deployment based on a certain synergy or squad power can help stop or slow down opposition. I love this tip. Having a focused area of defense that's really hard to penetrate can be a huge part of Territory Wars defense.
Yeah, and no one likes random deployments, especially when you're in quiet places.
We've all been in that position, except for maybe the very top guilds that are just perfectly organized.
Correct.
Where that guy deploys a team of Cup and Ugnaught.
Whoa. Leave Cup out of this, man. You leave Cup out of this.
We will leave the Cups out of this. Okay, but Jedi Guardian and Jedi Consular.
Yep, you're good. Those are good. You can keep. Yep, they're out for debate. Cup.
Also,
nope.
I have a feeling I might have pronounced Jedi Consular right that time.
Really?
This is a big moment for me.
I'll go with it.
All right. Number 7, we got Darth Seagulls, and he says, if you aren't researching the important Zetas an opponent might have before attacking, you're doing it wrong. Click and hold, homie. Know if that is a Zeta Talzin, Xeris. Oof. Man, that left a bad taste in my mouth. Savage, Sabine, etc. This is very, very critical. You got to do your homework when you're going into these. Facing a Zeta Barris team, for example, is going to be immensely different if that Zeta is not there.
Yeah, this is a big one. And this is one that people often overlook. You've got to click and hold and look at those Zetas because a lot of people will troll you and not have the Zetas on them.
And I'll admit, I'm that guy. I do not have a Zeta on my Barris, but I have definitely put in General Kenobi and Barris on defense before, just hoping that people would think that it's a Zeta Barris.
You would be that guy.
I'm always that guy. This is from Darth Gamer. Don't snipe teams one of your guildies just weakened. Give them a minute to back in there and finish it themselves. Or give them a minute to get back in there and finish it themselves. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I rage
who's
on
been
that
in this
all the
situation?
time.
I haven't even really thought about this much until I read this tip, but this has totally happened to me where I weaken a team and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get back in there, and then somebody else is in there to clean up after me. To be honest, I have to wave the white flag as well. I think I've probably been that guy that sweeps in and cleans something up too.
Yeah, I mean, it happens from time to time, but we have a couple people in our guild that are very specific that snipe, and it gets old pretty quick. So give them a chance. 1 or 2 minutes.
Definitely. Unless you're at the very end and it's like everyone's just going ham. You just got to be done. Right, meow.
All right, meow, where were we?
I'm sorry, are you saying meow?
Am I saying meow?
Right, meow.
Right, meow.
Am I drinking milk from a saucer? Do I look like a cat to you, boy?
All right, number 5. This is also from Darth Seagulls, and this is a mouthful. Sit down, ladies and gentlemen. We have a book to read. In some cases, if you are attacking a team that was only partially damaged by a prior guildie, and the team has the ability to regenerate health and protection, like a Commander Luke, like Thrawn, etc., and you find yourself losing to such a point that the team will finish stronger than when you attacked it, stop. Let the battle time out or retreat so that team goes back to the weaker state for the next guy. If you aren't researching the important Zetas an opponent has, blah blah blah. I mean, that's the same tip that he already gave as well. So I think this is huge. In my
Turn meter
opinion.
on defense, folks. Turn meter on defense.
Yeah, the turn meter is really big, and somebody else has a tip on that a little bit later. But in particular, if you notice that this team, it's like, oh, I'm going in here, I'm attacking, and you know what? I totally botched my composition. Commander Luke is now at full health. He was down to nothing at the beginning of this battle. Get out of there. Get out of there and let somebody else clean up because you're creating more work for your guild.
As quickly as you can. Number 4, Lightning Legend! Suicide Bombing Run. Tarkin lead, Emperor Palpatine, and Imperial Probe Droid. Tarkin's added speed allows EP to get off his second special, which allows Imperial Probe Droid to self-destruct and take out a dangerous tune. It works best for JTR, leaving her team pretty much defenseless for that second battle. Good
This
tip.
is genius. This is so genius. Especially if you've got these characters and they're not maybe your best, but you can still throw them in there. And Imperial Probe Droid, if you just have Palpatine there, he's going to be able to take that health off with Let the Hate Flow. you're going to be able to self-destruct somebody. You just need to make sure you have mods quick enough that you don't completely get killed before you have the chance to.
And take a moment to think about this. What's more Sith than sending a bunch of in to die to set up an easier battle for yourself? It just seems like a win-win to me.
That is true Sith. If you want to be part of the true Sith order, then here you go.
Come on over.
Love it. Number 3. This is from Trez, and he says, and I should give a call out. Trez is actually in a guild that beat my guild in Territory Wars. We've only ever lost 2, and his guild has one of the wins, one of the notches on our belt that were a little bit salty. So I don't know. I guess I should take his advice, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in a position of power over you once before. So
he has the high ground.
Let's read. Let's read.
He's got the high ground. This tip from the high ground. If you have something go really bad on offense and it looks like you didn't even touch the defending team, let your guild know the defense is already loaded with turn meter. And so this kind of connects to one of the previous tips. It might be best to just retreat so that it resets to what it was like before. But if that doesn't happen, you're going to want to let the guild know where the turn meter is at.
I think this calls for my world-famous Ewan McGregor. Anakin, you were supposed to be the chosen one!
You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them!
Ewan McGregor, I love you.
Okay, tip number 2. This is also from Trez. So, I mean, again, we got to listen to this guy because he beat my guild.
I know, and hold on a second here. This guy beat you and you're still taking his tips? I mean, that's fair, folks. That's fair. That's no favoritism right there.
Yep. Well, I mean, he got most upvotes, so I can't manipulate that. I guess I could go in and delete them and sabotage his results.
Ooh, that would be low.
All right, tip. Identify toons that can take down underdeveloped teams on their own and try to save them to do so. For example, Commander Luke, Xylo, Savage Oppressed with the Zeta. This allows you to trade one toon for their full squad and stretches your roster for more offensive wins. I think this is really good if you have these characters ready on offense, although a lot of us are going to have, I mean, I always put my Commander Luke on defense. I think a lot of people who have Savage Oppress are going to be putting him in on defense as well.
Guy's a monster. Absolute monster. Super underrated in this game, but I'm a Sith, so, you know, I'm a little biased.
Well, especially for Territory Wars. I remember once with Savage Oppress, it was just Savage left. And I hadn't gone against his Zeta in a long time because it's been a while since his Zeta was you know, all over the arena. And I put in like 4 weak characters thinking, oh yeah, you know, I got this. I got this. And I got completely obliterated.
Yeah. He's
I think it was kind of like before. He finished with more health than he started with because I could not stop him from healing himself with those characters.
Yep, and he's worse to me than Xeris, in all honesty, because he cleanses himself all the time, and he's just a tank.
Nothing's worse than Xeris.
Individually, not team-wise, just individually. I can kill Xeris, no problem. She hits like a noodle.
Individually? Okay, I'll concede. Individually, I will concede.
Yeah.
But with General Kenobi there, nah.
But I am biased. I'm a Sith, so let's just do that and go to the last tip. How about that?
Number 1. And this is from Milky Flies a Thai Slicer.
Gotta love it.
All right, and we've kind of hit on this, but a little more specific. Be careful with teams like Night Sisters because after a failed attempt, you might load them with turn meter, and the guy who attacks next basically flies into a storm. Turn meter is something, and let's talk about this in a little more detail. Turn meter is something you really need to be aware of for Territory Wars because the turn meter does not reset. It's going to leave right where you left off for the next person that goes in. So if you leave a team with full turn meter, then just like he says, that team is going to fly into a storm. And if you ever try to face a team that gets to go first every time, especially when they're OP, it can really set you up for failure. So this is something I think something you need to communicate with your guildies on, but also something I think is an area for improvement for Territory Wars. I think the developers really should consider putting that turn meter stat on the screen when you go to select your battles so that you can see before going into the battle where is that turn meter at.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm iffy on that because we were so critical of Territory Wars and its simplicity and all the ties in the beginning, and in that simplicity came a lot of complexity. So for me, I almost like that there's no turn meter there because it works against you on both sides. So I gotta say, I'm kind of on the fence on that one. I will say the tip is genius. The Night Sisters, they've got tons of turn meter. They're way harder to defeat because you've already got Plague on you before you attack once, and that's not good.
All right, guys, that wraps up our top 10 tips for Territory Wars. What are some of your tips for Territory Wars? Definitely fill up the comments below with what has been working for you guys. Ultimately, I think Scotty and I probably are on the same page with this, but to me, Territory Wars is my favorite part of this game. I love the coordination that goes into Territory Wars. If you're in a guild that's fun to work with, it can be a really exciting game mode. What do you think, Scotty?
Unquestionably my favorite part of the game. The one thing right now that I'm looking forward to, and if you guys don't comment below, kittens will die. I can't make that up. You have to comment. You don't want to kill kittens, guys. Come on.
Do not make Scotty a kitten killer.
I didn't say I was going to kill him. Thanks again for having me, Cubs fan on. I really appreciate being here again.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for the support. And as always, my brothers, don't forget.
For my dead body. Sorry about the mess.